What a pile of junk. So here's the bearing, the idler with a bearing in it that was going bad on the ML, on Ms. Hip Chicks ML. I set them on this piece of Amazon cardboard so I could show you a variety of what I've got here in my junk pile, just because I thought maybe you'd be interested to look. So here's a plastic one, and they mold the bearing into the plastic so you can't service it. You can remove the seal and put some grease in there with a small screwdriver if you're very careful. And I can't see where this one's made. I was looking at it. I think I got these from a junkyard in South Carolina. Pick apart. Take out my little trusty Coast flashlight, and oh, there's one from my 93 turbo diesel, the Turbo Turtle. And the bearing is made, it's an NT, is it an NTN? Here's one. Must have come from a local junkyard. It's kind of rusty. Listen to this one. Yeah, it's bad. Nothing special there. How about this one? That one's nice and smooth. Touch of roughness. The grease may be drying. Let's see where this one's made. NTN 1320 NTN. Doesn't say where it's manufactured. Here's one in the package. Uh-oh, how am I going to open this with one hand? Yeah, I got to get a tripod, I got to get a knee pad. I'm going to do some ceramic tile today. This one, it's in a package, but it says Gates, and where it's made is rubbed off. Let's see, this one is China. Yep, says it right there. Woo, takes a while to focus, but it eventually figures it out, huh? Made in China. Yep, everything's made in China. Somebody wrote in one of my comments that they put one in and it lasted a couple of days. Now here's one that's identical to the one that Miss Hip Chick gave back yesterday. And that was in an AutoZone Duralast box. This one's in a CarQuest box, and it says, Made in USA. And what was inside is PRC, which looks awfully similar to the one we gave back yesterday that I showed you, or the day before, rather. Got a whole bunch. Here's the spacers that come on them, and this one's got, this plastic one has little plastic holder on her, kind of like the little plastic thing they put on power fastener nails that use a 22 caliber charge. But you can't replace this bearing, but you can grease it. There's another bolt that came off of something or other. Interesting. Go to the junkyard and just spin these all, and most of them are bad. That's the one that was on the Miss Hip Chick's Mercedes. And it was getting squealy when we had another 50 miles to go to Massachusetts. And I made it there. I was going 40 miles an hour. I didn't want it to seize up, because this is what it looks like when it seizes up. This is the one that was on the Mercedes wagon that I drove back with Billy from California 3 years ago. We drove back from California all the way to Maine, then back to New York. And the next trip I took in the spring, within 100 miles, I heard it making a tiny bit of noise, and it went seized right up and toasted the belt and the pulley, but the belt didn't get destroyed, but close to it. And that's when I put the new one on to replace this one. That bearing went with the other wheel. And had I pulled off the seal, had I watched Sweet Project Cars video, I would have known you can pull off the seal and put a bit of grease in it. Come on. And it still rotates, but it ain't happy. Junk. So there's my little collection. I thought you'd want to see it for what it's worth. There's my collection of idler bearings. Idler bearing bushings. $20, $12 at Rock Auto, and $20 at the local auto parts store. But Rock Auto at least gives you a choice of Xinjiang, China, Taiwan, or maybe USA if you're lucky. I was reading an article on Jalopnik about the overpriced muscle cars. A Copo Camaro, a 69 ZL1, all aluminum, not even an SS. The Copo what was it, a 969 something, or 9601, whatever the code was. Those were not SSs. They were plain old Camaros with bucket seats and a column shift. They were meant strictly for racing. They made 69 of them in '69, and they're selling for huge money. But we'll just deal with our little nickel and dime bearings. Actually, in my parts collection here, people wanted to see my new shop. I'm not ready to show it yet. I'll just give you little tiny samples. I went to the Corvair show, and some guy was selling a box of parts cheap, and I bought them. And where are they? Look at this. You can thank the X for smashing that. Lucas flamethrower. Yep. Somewhere there's a whole bunch of rusty parts that I bought, and the box got wet. Here's a couple of bearings for something. Here's some good old 3/4 ton, 1 ton lug nuts made in USA that I got from a junkyard. A whole bunch of them. Always bring bags to a junkyard. Here's a 4-way flasher for something from the Corvair show. Yeah, somewhere in here, in this pile of crap. Here we go. Look at these. Brand new bearings. GM NOS. Look at this. They got wet and they're junk. What a shame, huh? Wheel bearings, this bearing, that bearing, the whole bunch from alternator bearings, just like the ones I'm showing you. Yep, snowblower bearings. Total junk. What a shame. All right, I've got to go do a ceramic tile floor. I've got piles of junk. Piles and piles and piles of it.